All right, everybody, let me know if you can hear me in the chat. We'll just do a quick audio check. Give me a thumbs up in the good old chat here if you guys can hear me, and then we'll get started if so. Alright, it looks like the audio is going here. So let's get started. Welcome everybody to Walks in Wall Street. Today is November 7th, 2023. It is a Tuesday and it is 9:04 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the corner of 56th Street and Madison Avenue, right here on Billionaires Row. Welcome back everybody. Wherever you're joining us from, all over the country, all over the world, I want to give you a big New York City welcome to the big Billionaires Row. Now, there's a couple things that we need to talk about tonight, but I want to start off with this, okay? And we've talked about this before, but I think this is very, very important to double down on it tonight because with everything that's been going on in the Middle East, okay, with the terrorist attack on Israel, escalations have now gone so far as to there's pretty much a full-on, full-scale invasion into Gaza. And many economists, many analysts, pundits, talking heads on Wall Street were really expecting this to cause turbulence throughout the energy sector, particularly oil and gas. Well, look where crude oil is right now. Down massively. Crude oil is trading at $77 a barrel. Back below $80 a barrel yet again. Now, if we do some quick review, and if you have your Bloomberg terminal up, if you have TradingView, MarketSmith, whatever, I'll kind of give you guys a behind-the-scenes look here. This is a daily chart of crude oil going all the way back. Going all the way back to March 8th, 2022, when crude oil topped out right at around $130 a barrel. And we've been sort of chopping sideways and down ever since. And this is usually what happens. You usually have these big blow-off tops in all asset classes, right? It happens in equities, it happens in real estate, and it happens in commodities. And my prediction is that we will not see crude oil going above $100 a barrel in 2024. I don't think we're going to see it. I think we're going to trade in this range between 60, 65, and 85. I'd actually be quite surprised if we break back to 95. And that's kind of how markets work. Everybody's like, all of this turmoil, all the war in the Middle East, how come crude oil's not $150 a barrel? Well, there's a few things at play here, and I think we really need to discuss it. We actually did discuss it briefly yesterday on the live stream. Now, if you missed it, last week, obviously, it was the first business day of the month, okay? And as we know, on the first business day of every single month, the Institute for Supply Management reports the PMI index, essentially detailing us what's going on in the manufacturing sector of the U.S. economy. And manufacturing activity fell off a cliff for October, coming in at 46.7. That's down from 49 in September. If you want the primary source for yourself, just go to the Institute for Supply Management's website and you could look back at a complete archive. I think it goes back to since when they started reporting the PMIs, of every single PMI report. And if you sort of follow the trend here, if manufacturing activity in the United States continues to decline, and if you look abroad, right, what have we been talking about in the live stream as it relates to China? Arguably, there's a more severe real estate crisis going on in China right now than there was during the 2008 financial crisis. So if you think about the two largest economies, right, I would say the top three, with India sort of coming up here, we may be able to use crude oil, right, as a proxy to say, hey, if the price of crude is going down, and we know that markets are forward-looking by about 6 months, well, maybe the market is trying to tell us that we're going to go into a period of slower economic growth. And when you have a period of slower economic growth globally, well, usually crude oil demand goes down. We'll also talk about demand for shipping. There was some breaking news that there has been some massive layoffs in the shipping and trucking sector, not only in the United States, but globally. And obviously that is very intensive as it relates to energy consumption, crude consumption, and gasoline consumption. And it makes sense, right? So all of these things are sort of coming together here. And this is also kind of good news for the American consumer. I mean, I don't have a car, I don't drive, but I mean, I'm sure many of you do, right? The majority of the country has to put gas in their car, and we're coming up on the holiday season. It's going to be Thanksgiving, it's going to be Hanukkah, and it's going to be Christmas. This is some of the most traveled time throughout the entire year. So, this is going to reflect in prices at the pump. It may not be reflecting right now, but it will. I mean, sub $80 a barrel crude oil, you're probably going to see prices at the pump come down, which is going to be really good, actually, as we head into the busiest travel sort of section of the year. Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, and Christmas. Some more data we have coming out, which we briefly talked about yesterday. Unemployment rate ticked up to 3.9%. It's the highest level since January of 2022. And job growth at the last non-farm payrolls slowed to about 150,000 jobs in October. But tonight, we're going to keep our focus sorted on cybersecurity. Looking out 5 to 10 years, if we look at the biggest growth engines and biggest areas of opportunity, if we had to speculate on that, I think cybersecurity, right, along with artificial intelligence, along with machine learning, is going to have a massive total addressable market. And it seems as if all of the headlines, right, not only in the mainstream financial media and the financial channels, but also on Main Street too, all of the talk has been about AI, right? AI this, AI that, artificial intelligence, machine learning that. I think what's being very overlooked right now is cybersecurity. And this is a good practice to go through. I want everybody to think about all of the largest publicly traded cybersecurity companies. And what you'll notice is over the last month, cybersecurity has actually been outperforming a lot of other sectors. So, for example, take a look at Zscaler, ticker symbol ZS. It's rallied, I'll tell you right now, I'm actually at my computer, from the lows in May, it's rallied over 100%, right, making 52-week highs, breaking back above the 50-day and the 200-day moving average. Look at CrowdStrike, CRWD. CrowdStrike Holdings, that is rallied almost 100% from the lows, over 100% from the lows. 52-week highs. So when the market is in a little bit of a corrective phase, oftentimes one of the things we want to do is look for stocks that are holding up relatively well when the majority of the indices are getting hit a little bit, right? That usually gives us a signal as to what particular sectors are going to lead the market as we emerge from a correction. And I think cybersecurity is going to continue to compound out in two phases. Number one, the overall spending on cybersecurity is going to continue to grow, and the total addressable market is going to continue to grow. And lastly, and unfortunately, the amount of money that has been lost due to cyber fraud is going to continue to grow. So here's an interesting statistic for you folks, and then we're going to get started. So enterprise AI spending is projected to reach $143 billion by 2027. That's a 73% CAGR, compounded annualized growth rate. Let's look at cybersecurity now. In 2021, organizations globally spent a combined $150 billion on cybersecurity, growing by about 12.4% a year. But with most recent data that we just got out, by the end of 2023, which is only a month, cybersecurity spending globally is set to reach $219 billion. So from 2021, 150 billion to 2023, 219 billion. According to Gartner, the total global addressable market for cybersecurity spend is going to reach $1.5 trillion in the next 10 years. Imagine if Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, all of these major players in the cybersecurity space just captures 5%, 10% of that market share. You are going to see significantly higher prices here. And I posted a tweet on Twitter the other day where I said, if I was 18 years old and I had to do it all over again, right? As most of you know, I spent about a decade in tech, software, and telecom sales. And if I was 18 years old right now, again, I would go work at a pure play cybersecurity company in a sales position. And what I would try to do is go to Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, Okta, Fortinet, whatever, take your pick, and work your way up and try to get into an enterprise account executive sales role. You're probably going to get a big base salary, probably $200,000 base, and you could easily double that with your commissions. If you're in a position where you're selling cybersecurity infrastructure to Fortune 500, Fortune 50, Global 2000 customers, with that growing total addressable market, and with AI, with machine learning, not only is cybersecurity spending going to grow, but unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of spending in cybersecurity crime, and these companies and municipalities are going to continue to get attacked. So that is where I would position myself. So from an investment standpoint, potentially, and from a career standpoint. Lastly, before we get started, everybody, on Thursday, after the market closes, I will be sending out our newsletter talking about the U.S. equity markets, global capital markets, and giving a little bit of a forecast on where we think the market's going to go. So if you have not signed up yet for our newsletter, feel free to scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, or if you type !news, N-E-W-S in the chat, click the link that the Nightbot drops, and you could punch in your email, and every other Thursday you will be signed up to receive all of our research for free. So let me go ahead and close up the laptop here. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we will get the stream started. So thank you everybody for joining. Give me a minute. Alrighty, let me clip my microphone on there. And let's see who we have. Hey, Susan Wolin is here. What's up, Susan? Thank you for joining us here on Billionaires Row in New York City. Hope you're doing well. I see all of our moderators here. Sunshine after rain. Hey, Niles says, for every good thing we create, we find ways to use it for wrong. DC322 is here. Hang with Mark Mom. Stephanie R. Welcome. UniJ23. So here we are on the corner of 56th Street, East 50th. It also can give you an edge as an investor too, right? Now my background, as you guys know, is I spent almost my entire career in tech and telecom sales. I think we may be in a little bit of a dead zone. Hold on. Let me turn off my Wi-Fi. There we go, we're back. You know what it is? Since my office is right here, my phone tries to connect to the Wi-Fi. And obviously, we can't get the Wi-Fi from 8 stories up. RPTs is off to a buffering start. Indeed we are. But look, I think, from an investment standpoint and from a career standpoint, if you're young or if you're a sales professional or whatnot, maybe you're even an engineer, what you want to do is you want to look at an opportunity or a sector in the economy that is going to be growing. You really don't want to go into a business that's in structural decline, right? So, I wouldn't go get a job selling copiers or something like that. Or I wouldn't go get a job selling, horse and buggies, something like that. You sort of get the point. So if you're graduating college, or maybe you're just looking for a career change, I would just start Googling, what are the trends over the next 5 years that are going to have I would say the largest TAM, the biggest and fastest total addressable market. And for me, that's cybersecurity, right? I think that's going to have the majority of the upside. So I've sold a lot of cybersecurity software in my day, particularly MDM, sort of like endpoint security management software to lock down corporate infrastructure of phones, tablets, desktop computers, and the like. Because unfortunately, as we become a more, I would say, diversified and spread out workforce, the more endpoints these malicious actors have to infiltrate a corporate network and, really do a lot of damage to a corporation's infrastructure. So if you're a chief technology officer today, right, a CTO, and you're not at least allocating a percentage of your overall tech budget to spending on cybersecurity, and God forbid something happens where, you get hit with a big malware attack, you're going to get fired automatically. So with that being said, if I'm a salesperson, I want to sell a good product that's in demand, and that's going to continue to be in demand and have more demand in 10 years from now. So I think if you want to sell cybersecurity software, it's a great time to do that. I don't know, do we have any cyber salespeople here in the chat, or anybody in tech sales or anybody in sales in general that wants to chime in? Hey, Jafet Perez, Tom, IBM versus Apple back in the day was always interesting. Cameron Duke says, hello, Tom, and happy Tuesday evening. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, right on 57th Street. Adam says, a big emphasis should be on jobs that have less of an offshore risk, says Adam. I think that's good too. Brent is here, says, hello everybody, let's have a great walk. Good to see you, Brent. Steph UF, Austin City Limits, Tug Carter. Thanks for joining. It's quite the windy night here in Manhattan. I'm not sure if you guys could see that. Look at how crazy the flags are blowing in the wind. It's probably, my God, over 20 mile an hour gusts here on Billionaires Row. Temperature seems to have dropped about maybe 20 degrees. I'm freezing tonight, guys. Oh, Jason Davis is like, I sell solar. Very cool. Very cool. Hang with Mark Mom, says Tom, not sales, but my kid is big time at work. So the products is into it big time at work. So the products for those that sell. Very cool. Hey, Razzle Dazzle 786, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight on this very windy and freezing night in New York. Let's head further into the city. We'll try not to get hit by the garbage truck. But yeah, I've been watching the market, and over the last 2 weeks, the breadth of the market has been deteriorating significantly. And we've been talking about that, particularly in our newsletter. But, not really even including this big rally week last week and going into this week, cyber in general, right, has really come out of this major correction in 2021. Trading at 52-week highs, still has a lot of overhead there, but earnings have been rolling through and they've been really good, right? We've heard from some major cybersecurity CEOs, and demand has been very, very robust. Because I don't really want to get into the debate on whether we're going to go into recession or not. Are we going to have a recession? Are we not going to have a recession? I'm not too sure, but what I could say is the following. Cybersecurity is not a nice-to-have piece of software. It's a must-have. You're going to need cybersecurity software to protect your infrastructure in an economic boom, and you're also going to need it in a recession. Now, some other software that is nice to have is probably going to get cut first. So you think about like a Zoom video or something like that. Let's see what's going on here. I think the buffering should stop. Let me see here. Oh yeah, DC 322 paying attention to it. But I don't even know what people were voting for today. What were we voting for today? Does anybody know? I should, but I don't. Yeah, DC 322 says lots of ransomware attacks, and it's been increasingly frequent. Absolutely. All right, maybe we'll head downtown. Maybe it won't be as buffering downtown. TK Porsche says it's been local elections. Copy that. Maybe it's buffering a little bit for election day. Maybe we have some politicians in the neighborhood. Billy says, even with all the unrest, terrorism won't ever go away, but how they attack cyberly will only grow. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, unfortunately, there's going to be an increasing amount of ransomware, cyber attacks, hacks, throughout the next 5 to 10 years. So the percentage of tech spend on cybersecurity infrastructure is gonna have to go up. I mean, it's almost like a must-have now. I think it was last year we were talking about specifically how a lot of school districts are being targeted for these cyber attacks. I think there was even a school district out on Long Island that was unfortunately had their entire systems compromised. Now imagine if a cyber attack were to hit a major hospital, right? Hit critical infrastructure of medical facilities. That is a major national security risk and threat. So if I had to make a prediction, there's probably going to be regulation coming down from government level, right? State and local government, and maybe even the federal level, to say if you are running a business that has to do in the medical field or critical infrastructure, if you're a power plant, something like that, you're probably going to need to meet a cybersecurity spend threshold and have that be audited by the government. So, again, from an investment standpoint, that's only going to benefit these cybersecurity companies, right? Like Palo Alto, Zscaler, CrowdStrike, and many others. But I would say those are the main ones. I would say those are my core three that I'm watching. Hey, Oscar Diaz, what's up? So cybersecurity analyst is a big IT field to get into. Peter Webley says, Tom, there's been hospitals in LA that have been attacked. Hey, Abdullah, what's up? Good to see you. TD Purcell, welcome. Hey, Dan Sanks says, Tom, do you also see growth in cyber attack insurance? I do. I think it's going to be an entire industry. I think there's going to be an adoption of a whole other industry, right? Cybersecurity insurance, for sure. Hey, Nina's here. What's up? Good to see you. We are now walking down 6th Avenue, right outside of the Hilton Hotel. TK Porsche, Tom, I assume you're aware of the ransomware attack last month on more than 24 MLS systems. Those systems were down for over 2 weeks. I actually wasn't aware. I wasn't. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Troy Atman says, didn't MGM get hacked? Oh, I remember that. Wasn't like the entire strip of Las Vegas down for like a week? I remember that. I mean, they've just been so plentiful. It's just been insane. Yeah, Troy Atman. That's a really good point. I remember that. Yeah, I think there was a major cyber attack that shut down all the casinos, and there were reports that people couldn't even get into their hotel rooms because the badges didn't work. That is, yeah, that's insane. And you know what? You know, cybersecurity companies themselves aren't even immune. There was a company that goes by the name of Okta, which we talk about a lot. Now, Okta specializes in identity and access management. It's a particular cybersecurity that runs under the acronym IAM, Identity and Access Management. They compete with like a Ping Identity. They're a Denver-based company that was actually taken private this year by Thoma Bravo, Orlando Bravo's company. But Okta, the cybersecurity company, had a massive breach. I think this was last week, and they've exposed tons of customer proprietary information in the breach. So it's crazy that not even cybersecurity companies are really strange. Oh, Brian. Okay, maybe that was it. Yeah, so Okta's not looking too hot then. So if Okta caused that. I remember I interviewed with Okta a while back. Jafet Perez has never thought about cybersecurity companies also need security. Dale says, Tom, if you're going to get cyber insurance, you better be buttoned up as best you can and have your audits in place, or you will be paying too much for insurance. Yeah, I bet. I mean, insurance companies are always there when you don't need them. But the moment you need them, they're like running out the door the other way. Hey, Isaac C says, yeah, I remember in 2019, LifeLock suffered a massive breach. Guys, you know what was I would say the creepiest type of cyber breach of all time is the Ring doorbell breach. There's been, I wonder what's going on here. There's a bunch of, looks like a bunch of students lined up around the block here. But the Ring doorbell cameras were being hacked, and cyber criminals were gaining access to these Ring doorbell cameras, and they could see what you were doing, they could spy on you. It was really just quite bizarre. I wonder what's going on here. there's a line all the way down 6th Avenue here. Hang with Mark Baum says, oh yeah, the ring breach. We changed over to Waze at no monthly fee. We control our own security. Interesting. So how does that work? Hang with Mark Baum. Do you like self-host your server or something like that so it doesn't upload to the cloud? You just have a server in your house? Oh, maybe this is the opening night for the Rockettes. I'm not too sure. Let's try to get away from the crowd here. You can see some of the barricades here. It says Christmas Spectacular Radio City Rockettes. Yeah, Brian M says, if you want to be paranoid, read about Pegasus. So I do know about Pegasus, and I think there's actually this ex-military guy that's creating his own phone company that totally disconnects from the internet. But yeah, that is well known. Like if you may have noticed sometimes that when you talk about a specific topic, or you talk about buying a specific product or service, and you'll be like, whoa, why am I getting a Facebook advertisement? Why am I getting an Instagram advertisement or a YouTube advertisement about this thing? I was just talking about it, with my husband or with my wife, 2 days ago. Your phone is listening to you. It's true. Your phone listens to you through your speakers. All right, so this is where the main Christmas ornaments are going to be. I'd say probably in the next week or two, they're going to be right up here. All right, and this is the main Rockefeller Center Christmas tree here at Radio City Music Hall. No way, Tariq Khan, really? That's insane. All right, let's continue to head down. Hey, Niall says, I work in digital advertising. The way we can target users based upon behaviors and devices is scarier than what the government can do. Yeah, I mean, it's all very, very specific targeted advertising. It's, that's one of the reasons why Facebook, well, I should say now Meta, is doing so well. You continuously see advertising revenue continue to grow at Meta pretty steadily. And mainly it's because consumers are getting such a high ROI on their advertising spend. Now, there's been studies, and it shows specifically that the social media platforms that have the best return on investment for advertising spend is Facebook ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, right? So that would be a Microsoft product. But the social media platform that has the worst return on investment per dollar spent on advertising is Twitter, well, now known as X. So it'll be interesting to see if Elon Musk can change that. Now, here's what I think, and I want to sort of know your opinion on this, everybody here in the chat. One of the reasons why I think Facebook advertising and Instagram ads convert so well It looks like somebody took out their anger on the flowers here. Flowers are all over. Looks like there was a mass flower murder that we're walking through right now. But one of the reasons why I think they convert so well is because it's all visuals, right? You have photos that convert well, and video converts really, really, really well. Twitter has mainly been text, right? Very short blurbs of text, and that really doesn't convert well for advertisers. But has anybody noticed what Elon Musk has been trying to push on everybody now? He's been trying to coerce and persuade creators to post podcasts and video content and do journalism on X. And I think, or I should say, the only way we can improve that is to add more infographics, to add more video. This is News Corporation right in front of us. Hey, Steve B is here. What's up, Steve? Hang with Mark Mom says, Tom, YouTube can bump up the ads to all channels as well. Those that don't want to see ads, they pay for premium. Otherwise, we can be aggressive with ads for increased revenues. Absolutely, for sure. I definitely agree. All right, let's continue on down here. I wonder why there's so much buffering tonight. Usually we don't have that much buffering in Midtown Manhattan. Florida says YouTube has way too many ads. I think you could pay for YouTube Premium, which is, I don't even know how much it is now, like $15. I think they may have raised the price. But the problem that I have with YouTube advertising specifically is I think much of the YouTube ads that at least I get showed, they're all like very spammy ads. They're not even like for real companies. It's just for like nonsense, really. But I guess it converts well, because if you keep seeing the same YouTube advertisements over and over and over, that means they're converting really well, or else these people wouldn't be spending so much money running the advertising. So I think that's my biggest criticism of YouTube ads, is some of the advertisements aren't the best, I should say. We are fast approaching Bryant Park here. Hey, Sparks Carnival says, what's up, Tom? Did we talk about Datadog yet? Ticker symbol DDOG. Well, sort of in a third-party way we were talking about it. We were covering sort of our bull thesis on cybersecurity, particularly cybersecurity spending over the next 5 to 10 years. So Datadog would definitely be put in that category, right? Ticker symbol DDOG. Now, their New York City headquarters is right on 42nd Street in the New York Times building. And, you know, one of the things we were saying at the beginning of the stream is that if you're looking for a career opportunity that's gonna last throughout your career, right, 10, 20 years or so, you want to look for an industry that's not in structural decline. If anything, it's going to continue to grow at a very, very healthy CAGR, right? Compounded annualized growth rate. And so I said, and I posted about this on Twitter. If you want to check us out on Twitter, you can just follow at Walks Wall Street. But I said, if I was 18 years old and I had to do sort of my career all over again, I would first start out at a pure play cybersecurity company. And since I like sales, I would start off as an account executive, right, at either like a Palo Alto Networks, a Zscaler, a CrowdStrike, and I would work my way up to enterprise sales. And I would sell big enterprise software deals, right, cybersecurity deals, to Fortune 500, Fortune 50, Global 2000 customers. And so I think if anybody in the chat is listening, right, maybe you're about to graduate college, or maybe you're about to go into college, I think that's going to prove itself to be a very lucrative opportunity, because not only are you probably going to sell a lot and make a lot of money in your base salary and your commission, but in the equity too, right? If you work at a lot of these big companies, at least the companies that I've worked at, you have an employee stock purchase program where once a quarter you could buy company stock for sometimes a 20% discount. The company I was at, we could buy our stock at a 20% discount. Right now you have a lockup period. It's not like you can just buy it at a 20% discount and arbitrage it every day. You opt into it, I believe it's like once a quarter or once a year. So I think there's going to be big opportunities like that. Here's the Steinway & Son piano store again. Hey, NAV0407 is here. What's up? Thanks for joining us. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We usually start these streams around 8:30 p.m. Let's continue down because we're going to see an amazing view of the Empire State Building here in a moment. It appears to be lit up in green and yellow, kind of like an orange actually almost. Now, what do you guys think? If somebody came to you and said, what do you think is going to be one of the fastest growing industry trends of the next 5 to 10 years? What would you say if you had to pick two categories, right? And if you had to bet, just for fun, what would be the two sectors that you would bet is going to grow the fastest or is going to have the biggest total addressable market over the next 5 to 10 years? For me, it's number one, cybersecurity, and number two, artificial intelligence. I think those would be my top two. Everything in Miami says AI. It's definitely a good one. Andrews is EVs. Hang with Mark Moms is AI and cyber for sure. Now, Hang with Mark Mom, a crazy thing about Zscaler is I think the CEO, well, the CEO is the founder of the company too, but I think he still owns about 33% of his entire company. So, I mean, imagine if some of these projections are true, that cybersecurity is going to be a $1.5 trillion market by 2030. If Zscaler just captures, 10% of that, he is going to be he's already a billionaire. He's going to be like a deca-billionaire. Maybe even like $100 billion. If he still retains like 33% ownership of the company. It's crazy. I think there's going to be, and we sort of seen this trend in South Korea. There's been tons of wealth creation over the last decade in Korea due to their semiconductor market. I think you're going to see a lot of new minted billionaires in the cybersecurity industry over the next 5 to 10 years. I think you'll probably see the next unicorn as a cybersecurity company. It's like an undercover cop over there. Jose's EV battery sales. Hey, Penelope, good to see you. Kevin Grant's AI and media propaganda. Chris's AI should do nothing but seek and destroy hackers. Hey, Oscar Diaz says my son is in college for biotech engineering. It's a very good field to be in. That guy almost got nailed by that car. I feel like there's a lot of chaos in the city tonight. Let's continue to head down. Hey, Daniel G, what's up? This is Hey Tom. This is no firearms allowed on the premise. I'm sure all of the criminals and all of the derelicts walk up to the Whole Foods about to rob the place and are like, "Ah, oh, dude, that's too bad. No guns allowed. It looks like we can't rob the place." Yeah, I know. Someone's like, it sounds like you're at an outdoor concert. I feel like the city is very chaotic today. Maybe that's just due to the election day. I don't know. I don't know if we were doing any voting though today in the city. But it seems like a lot of people are either getting hurt or something. I hope everybody's all right. That's like probably the 20th cop car or ambulance we've seen tonight. Hey, Brian M, what's up? Good to see you. Now, Daniel G, I wanted to ask you, because I know you're a big software guy, from a development standpoint. Do you concur with the projections of cybersecurity growth in terms of total spend for cybersecurity? Now, according to Gartner, in 2021, organizations globally spent about $150 billion on cybersecurity. That was in 2021. And so far this year, right, we're talking globally here, and the year's pretty much almost over, but there's been about $219 billion worth of cybersecurity spend this year. And that's projected to grow. Now, I believe by 2030, the TAM, or the total addressable market for cybersecurity, is expected to reach $1.5 trillion. So there's significant upside here. Oh wow, Hang with Mark Mom says, Tom, New York and New Jersey schools are off this week. I didn't know that. I didn't know school was out. All right, let's go over to Broadway here. Now, not to sort of give a negative undertone, but I had to run to Target today really quick. The Target right near Columbus Circle. And I just had to buy deodorant. I just had to buy one thing really quick. And all the deodorant was locked up behind glass, obviously. So I wait. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting because I pressed the customer service button, to wait for the lady. I wait 10 minutes and I notice this guy walks up to me and he says, "Hey, are you waiting to have the people unlock the case?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, great, man. That's really good, man. Oh, really good. Cool. I have to get deodorant as well." And I said, uh-huh. So the lady finally comes over and unlocks the case. Right as I unlock the case, the guy sitting next to me, like an animal, just lunges at all the deodorant and just starts plopping it in his backpack, like ripping everything off as fast as he can, just starts throwing the deodorant in his backpack. And the lady's trying to close the glass case, and there's just nothing she could do. I mean, the guy's overpowering her. And he just probably steals at least, 10 or 12 deodorant sticks and runs out of the place. And I go to the lady, I'm like, I'm so sorry that happened. Could I just grab mine? And yeah, I paid for mine, but I kind of felt like an idiot paying for it after the guy stole about 10 of them. So watch out for that. If you're waiting and you press the customer service button, sometimes people will stalk you in the store, and when they open it, they just grab everything, which is unfortunate. It was crazy, but anyway, not to be too on a negative note, but that's been happening a lot in the city. They've decided to close down the Target on 116th Street. So the Target in East Harlem is going to be shuttering, and I think it's because there's been a lot of that theft. Someone says, sounds like San Francisco. Well, you know what? I see a lot of opportunity in San Francisco, and a lot of people are calling me crazy for this, but I see huge opportunity there. You're seeing, and we wrote about this a lot in our newsletter, but commercial real estate is going to take a very, very big beating. And there's a lot of commercial paper outstanding. There's a lot of debt that's, needs to be rolled over at significantly higher rates. And there's just a ton of vacancy. So there's going to be big defaults, and a lot of these loan originators are just going to take back the property. But that's going to create a lot of opportunity for these foreclosed sales, right? I mean, think about it. If you have a building with $35 million worth of debt on it, sometimes even much more, and it goes to auction, it sells for 15, 20 million bucks, you got a $50 million property for 15 or 20 million bucks. Now, are you going to need to, wait out, all of the craziness that's going on in San Francisco that's driving a lot of the businesses out? Yeah, you will, but you'll be able to afford it. And I believe they're going to clean up San Francisco, and I think it's going to make a big comeback. I don't necessarily think San Francisco is as resilient as New York City. That I don't think so, but I think it's very close. New York City, in my opinion, and I'm biased, right? I'm a New Yorker, will always come back. It doesn't matter what happens, and the politicians know that. That's why, they can keep raising the taxes in perpetuity, just because it's such a great city, right? New York is such an iconic city with so many opportunities and so much demand. I mean, people from all over the world, all different types of backgrounds, want to come to New York to start a life, to start a business, to get a really lucrative, high-paying job, to get educated, right? New York City has some of the best educational institutions in the entire world here. So I think New York will always bounce back. Just like everybody said New York was dead during COVID, it bounced right back. I believe it's just going to take a little bit longer for San Francisco to bounce back. It may be 5 years, right? But I think at the rate it's going and the business flight, they're going to get such political pressure to change things and, enforce the law, clean up a lot of the drugs, get people the help that they need. And I think over the next 5 years, the people who were, willing to put capital to work and acquire really good properties in really good districts, I think they'll be rewarded, but it's going to be very scary to do, right? That's why, it's almost, oh, that's cool, we saw it change. Everybody says, oh, this is just the beginning of the decline of San Francisco. This is just the beginning. That's sort of the talk you usually hear around the bottom of the market. When people say, oh, this is only the beginning, it's just going to continue to get worse, more dystopian, prices are going to go to zero. When you start hearing people saying that, it's like, oh, okay, like, all right, you know, this must be close to the bottom. You know, I mean, look at the 2008 financial crisis. There were some people that are like, stocks are never going to go back up. Companies are never going to do well again. Unemployment is going to be high forever. And then guess what? From 2009 to 2021, or I should say to 2019, we go on one of the greatest bull runs the United States has ever seen. So sentiment is usually the most negative right at a turning point. So do I think I'm going to predict the bottom of the San Francisco commercial real estate market? No, I probably won't nail it, but I actually think I'll get pretty close. Now, I think there's going to be more pain, there's going to be more defaults, and we've wrote about this extensively, but I think there's big opportunity, and I am pro San Francisco. I think it's going to turn around. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much for your very kind 10 CAD donation. This is Tom. I like Vespa and e-bikes. I like Vespas and e-bikes too, my friend. I have 2 Vespas, well, scooters. I have 2 scooters in Miami that I just got fixed, by the way. The belt, I don't know if I told you guys this, but the belt on the scooter snapped right as I was going to go over the Haulover Inlet. Thank God I wasn't on that on-ramp to Haulover Inlet when that snapped, or else I probably would have got rear-ended by a car. But anyway, yeah, I love scooters, Vespas, and e-bikes too. They're great ways to get around, particularly in South Florida, by the way. So thank you so much for your very kind donation. Thank you so much. Jetstar says, Tom, your youth betrays you, Tom? Maybe. Or maybe I'll make a fortune. We'll find out. TK Porsche says, Tom, San Francisco can turn it around overnight, but the municipal leaders are committed to their failed policies, and the populace won't vote them out. Maybe. You could be totally right. But, I mean, look, and here's what I also believe. And again, just because I say something doesn't mean I'm going to be right about it. I'm wrong all the time on the stream. You know, if you've been watching Walks on Wall Street for a while, I make calculated bets on things, and oftentimes I'm wrong. But I will say this. I feel as if, nice Tesla taxi here, guys. I think that was the Model Y. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so one of the things I think now, which is unfortunate, when we have this conversation about New York, San Francisco, LA, you know, all these major cities. Hey, what's up? Good to see you.
I follow you on YouTube, my friend.
Oh, awesome, man.
Hey, man.
Thanks for watching.
I'm Chuck Rumford. I comment on your photos and videos all the time.
Oh, dude, cool.
Yeah, me and my son are over here for like...
Hey, good to meet you.
Yeah,
Tom.
CJ.
Nice, guys.
Yeah,
Well, enjoy New York, dude.
Yeah, we always do, my friend.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you. That was a nice guy. Fellow commenter in the chat. That's cool to see him on the street. Now, what I was saying about the commercial real estate, when you have these debates about all these big cities, right? I think it's becoming quite political in nature, to where some Americans that are, you know, living in, you know, red states, or some Americans that are living in blue states, for example, they're kind of like rooting for the destruction of the city. Now, I'm not saying all people do that, but I'm seeing it more and more, particularly as you're hanging around on Twitter and other platforms like that. It's almost as if they want to root for the decline of these cities. And I think that's not the right way to go about things, right? And this is coming from a conservative. I mean, I'm a conservative, you know, right-leaning person. But to root for these great cities, these great American cities that have produced so much innovation, so many jobs, so much economic growth. I mean, California is one of the largest economies in the world. I mean, just the state of California alone. So I don't think we should be rooting, in a sense, for the decline and the destruction of these, you know, Democrat-run cities, because that's going to hurt all of us.
I think we need to be Team America. I think we need to be America first, pro-America, and help turn these cities around. Doesn't matter if there's a lot of Democrat voters or Republican voters or whatnot. You got to turn it around because capital flight is going to be a real thing. Capital is going to leave these cities. Innovation is going to leave these cities. But most importantly, the intellectual, the intellectual talent could potentially leave these cities and the country, by the way. So if you have cities that are dangerous, there's high crime and high theft, we're not going to attract the best and brightest people from all over the world because they're going to be too afraid to come to those cities. So I think we need to turn it around, and I think there's still time to turn it around. Marcos says, Tom, how do you see safety in New York City at the moment? Do you feel a decrease? No, I mean, I feel pretty safe in New York. New York is a very big, safe city. But, you know, it's, I would say with the pandemic, and particularly with this explosion in the migrant population, that has been, you know, totally botched, there's been an uptick in some crime. There's been an uptick in theft. I think the city has gotten a little bit dirtier, but it is still a very safe city. New York City is still a very, very safe city. You know, regardless of what you may see on, you know, Fox News or whatnot. And look, I'm a conservative saying that, okay? You know, if you walk down the streets in New York, generally this place is beautiful, it's nice, it's great. But you have pockets of the city where it's a little sketchy, right? Where you gotta keep your head on a swivel at all times. But the vast majority of it is good. But there's a lot of drug use. There's a lot of open, you know, heroin needles in some parts of the city, particularly the part that we're actually ironically headed in now, right at Penn Station. But it's not the Armageddon, Mad Max that you see depicted on Fox News. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much for your generous 5 CAD donation. This is if Trump gets in, what will happen to Powell and interest rates? Well, that's a good question. And I'd like to start off by saying the following. The Federal Reserve is supposed to be completely separate from the U.S. government, so to speak, right? It's supposed to be an independent entity that's not supposed to be swayed one way or the other by a president. However, I will say this. You can't really tell Donald Trump what to do. I think we've learned that from his last presidency. He's going to do whatever he wants to do. And this is actually one of the things I was very critical on Trump about during his presidency. And it was the following. He was actively threatening the Fed chair to fire him if he tightened monetary policy. Because Trump is not stupid. He knows that if during his presidency we went into a quantitative tightening cycle, that the stock market would have taken a big hit. And this is why I always argue the following. And a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people disagree, and that's fine. But in my opinion, the President of the United States, be it Democrat or Republican, whoever is in office, takes way too much credit when the market is going up and gets way too much blame when the market is going down. The Federal Reserve is really the one who sets the pace of monetary policy and the tone for monetary conditions. It really has nothing to do with the president. It's really all about liquidity in terms of the performance of asset prices. So you had, you know, under President Barack Obama, right, we had sort of ZIRP, zero interest rate policy, and the market went gangbusters. right? And under Trump, we continued to have very easy monetary policy and increased government spending. And guess what? The market went gangbusters. So it's sort of like, not all the time, but it's sort of like the luck of the draw, in a sense. If you are lucky enough to be president when the Federal Reserve is easing and they're printing a bunch of money, well, asset prices are probably going to go up, and then you could cheerlead the stock market to the moon, right? And vice versa. Now, again, not all the time, but I would say ever since the introduction of ZIRP post-financial crisis. So whenever I hear these political debates about, oh, well, you know, this president, the stock market performed better, I think it's kind of irrelevant. It's more based upon monetary policy. I think Joe Biden, Trump, whoever's in the White House doesn't have as much pull on the stock market as you may think, in my view. That's sort of my take on it. All right, guys, it looks like there's a Rangers game getting out. So this is the new 2-pen project from Vornado. And it actually looks really good, by the way. Now, if you guys sort of like the financial conversations that we have each and every night on this stream, if you scan the QR code on your screen and punch in your email, you'll be signed up to receive our free financial newsletter. So this Thursday at 6 p.m., check your email, because I'm going to be sending you the next edition of the Behind the Street newsletter. We're going to be covering a lot of the topics we've been talking about this week on the stream. We're going to do a little bit of yield curve analysis. We're going to be talking about WeWork that filed for bankruptcy. So you don't want to miss this issue. So you could either scan the QR code or type !news, NEWS, in the chat, and the Nightbot will drop the link to our Substack. If you click that link, you could read all of our archived research. And if you punch in your email, you can receive it in your email box on Thursday. Now, this is going to be a ton of traffic here. Man, look at this. There's always tons of traffic after the Rangers game. I wonder if they won. Anybody know if the Rangers won tonight?
Yeah, one more now.
Now, here's another thing. The city has announced that they're going to expand more of these city bikes, and that's going to take away a ton of street parking. So what they're saying is that traffic is going to be worse in the city, and more people are going to have to start paying for parking in terms of garages and stuff. All right, let me catch up on the chats. Oh, they won. Rangers won. Awesome. Which is good, because I think Hawaii, from the chat, is at the Rangers game tonight. She flew all the way from Hawaii on a business trip, and I think they're going to the Rangers game tonight. So that's good that they won. It's a nice warm welcome to New York. All right, what do you guys think of the new Penn Station, at least from the outer facade? I think it looks good. Looks like there was a full house at Madison Square Garden tonight.
Oh.
Hey, Florida, thank you so much for your generous $20 donation. Let's go to the front of Madison Square Garden and maybe we'll see some of the players getting out. But Florida, Jonathan says, thanks, Tom, for another great walk. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Hopefully you're enjoying the Rangers game getting let out tonight. I always like seeing everybody wearing Rangers jerseys. I don't know why. I feel as if it kind of rallies the city together. And I also like the color scheme of I like the colorway of the Rangers jerseys too. Now, speaking of the New York Rangers, I just listed an apartment last week. It went live. 5 Franklin Place, Unit 8A. It's a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom apartment in Tribeca. Has private parking garage. It's actually on a private street. And the penthouse is owned and occupied by one of the most famous New York Rangers of all time. Now, I can't say his name, but I'm sure everybody knows. And we're listing the apartment just 2 floors under his. So, if you want to buy in a building with the New York Ranger, send me an email. We'll get a deal done. Now, speaking of paid parking, let's see how much it costs. All right, an hour, $22.81. It's actually not too bad. Up to 10 hours, $35. It's actually not bad. $35 for 10 hours. 20 for the whole day, it's $45. I was actually expecting that to be a lot higher. It's not too bad at all, actually. All right, so to the right, lit up in red, white, and blue, is Madison Square Garden. And this is where the players go in, I believe. But there's just too much traffic. Let's try to navigate through it. All right, let's cross here just so we can see.
Cold comes from red.
Yeah, so right in here, you can kind of see some of the vehicles. That's where a lot of the players' cars go through. And then usually have some of the team buses over here. Hey, Penelope says, Tom, how's the Beagle? The Beagle's doing good. Thank you for asking, by the way. The Beagle is doing very good. Tom M says plus 18% on that parking, or 18% tax on the parking. Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I mean, I'm in a.
Yeah, well, I mean, put it this way. If you want to park a sedan for a month, right? 30 days. On average, it's going to cost you like $550 a month to park that. Now, if you have a larger vehicle, let's say Chevy Suburban or a Cadillac Escalade, that's probably going to cost you around $700 to $900, right? Depending on the garage. It's expensive. Now, if you want to buy your own parking space, it's going to cost you around $140,000, anywhere from $140,000 to $175,000 for the space, which is actually not bad, by the way. Some people were paying $300 grand for a parking space during the pandemic, if you look at some of the trades. So prices have come down, actually, a lot for parking spaces. Isaac says, hey Tom, be honest, what do you prefer, New York City or Miami? I prefer Miami in the winter, but I prefer New York City in the summer. So December, January, February, March, and April, those 5 months, I'd 100% prefer to be in Miami, Florida. But everything else, I'd prefer to be in New York City. Because I love New York in the summer. You guys know that. And a lot of people don't like New York in the summer because they say New York is very humid. But I kind of like it hot and humid. All right, this is the Moynihan Train Hall. And in the distance, you could see all of the Hudson Yards. Rob M says, I celebrate New York City's hostility to automobile owners. They've had their way for far too long. Yeah, I mean, it's a big debate. It's a big debate. Now, I don't drive, but I can definitely feel the pain in a sense of some of the pedestrians. So this is like sort of what I call a little bit of a hot spot here. This is one of those areas of the city where it's like, all right, it's not the best. There's a lot of sort of like open air drug trade and things like that. But it's not widespread in the city. It's in like, you know, little pockets. Right here is one of those sort of areas. I think for me, the biggest difference, obviously, between New York and just South Florida in general is it just comes down to your preference in climate. Because some people hate South Florida. Some people cannot stand the heat and humidity. They don't like it at all, and I get that. I just happen to be one of those crazy people that really like the heat and humidity. But if you do not like it hot and humid, do not go to Miami in August. Okay, that is a forewarning. It is really hot and humid in Miami in August. So that's your forewarning. Hey, Sparks Carnival, this is Datadog, ticker symbol DDOG. Was up almost 30% today alone. Snowflake, MongoDB, and Cloudflare stocks also rallied Tuesday. Yeah, cyber is a leader. Now, Sparks Carnival, do you think this could potentially be, obviously because they're blowing out their results, but we've talked about the concept. Let's check the pricing for this parking lot. We've talked about the concept of nice-to-have software and must-have software. Cybersecurity is a must-have. All right, let's see this. Early bird special if you enter at 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. and if you're out by 6, $32.95 plus tax. So let's just call it $35. So if you're commuting from Long Island, it's going to cost you $35. It's kind of the same thing as the Long Island Railroad, is it not? How much is a peak ticket from Massapequa? I should know this, I'm from there, to the city now? Like $19? So it's almost on parity with driving. But look, you know, if you look at some of these other softwares, like Zoom Video, for example, you don't need to be paying for Zoom, okay? You get it free in your Microsoft Office stack. You get Microsoft Teams. So when corporations are really trying to cut costs, they say, okay, what are all of the softwares that we're paying for? And cut everything that we don't 100% need. So Zoom is like a nice to have, like a Qualtrics is kind of like a nice to have. But cybersecurity software is not a nice to have. It is a must have. Also, a lot of the infrastructure plays too, right? We talked about ServiceNow with Bill McDermott, which he had a great interview the other day, by the way. Anybody get a chance to watch that Dave Rubenstein, Bill McDermott interview that I recommended to everybody? If you haven't, check it out. That is a really must watch. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bill McDermott originally was at SAP, a really big software company. He absolutely blew it out of the water there. Now, he is at a company called ServiceNow, and I think they're the first software company to get to $1 billion ARR, faster than Salesforce. So Bill McDermott, fellow Long Islander from Amityville, He's killing it. He's a really, really world-class CEO. So check out that interview. I think you guys would like it. Bill McDermott with Dave Rubenstein. Fantastic. All right, so we're now out of all of the crazy crowds. And this is the Hudson Yards. This is 2 Manhattan West, which is a Class A office tower right here. Hey, Michael says, I am using ServiceNow right at this moment. We'll have to check out the interview. Oh, Michael, you're gonna freaking love this interview. And it's not really all about business, right? It's about a bunch of different things. It's about persevering through adversity. It's a phenomenal interview. That's all I can say. I don't want to give it all away. It's about a 30-minute interview, but check it out. Maybe somebody could drop the link in the chat so you'll have easy access to it. I'll probably also include the link in the newsletter that I'm going to send out on Thursday. If you want to sign up for our newsletter for free, if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, and just click on our Substack link, and on Thursday I'll include the link there. But it looks like they have all the Christmas lights going up. Let's see if they have any Christmas lights at the Vessel. Or better yet, inside the shops at the Hudson Yards. I think the classic white lights look very pretty. Better than the multicolor lights. I think it looks more classic. And obviously you have the Empire State Building all the way in the distance. Hey, Enough Expert is here. What's up? Good to see you. Now, there was also a really good article in Barron's. Did anybody read the cover story of Barron's this week? I was reading it a little bit at the office. I was sort of winding down. I took like an hour break, and it was really good. It was all about the resurgence of PC sales. And it's funny because we spent a good 20 minutes talking about laptops, computers, PC sales in last night's live stream. And one of the things that a lot of companies, such as Dell, Lenovo, a lot of the big PC manufacturers and operators are going to try to do to essentially provide a resurgence in sales of PCs is to, you guessed it, integrate AI into these computers. So they're going to have these neural chips in the computers and really double down on edge computing, right? And I'm sure many of you that work in tech, you sort of know what edge computing is. Essentially, you want to have applications or try to have applications run as close to the edge as possible, because if you're thinking about running like an AI application in the cloud, that's going to be very, very expensive and it's going to take a lot of compute. But if you can insert these chips directly into a computer, hold on, let me zoom in on this. If you can insert those chips directly into a computer, they say it's going to spur sales and even increase productivity. Oh, Sunshine After Rain has the ServiceNow interview link. So everybody, go ahead, if you look at Sunshine After Rain in the chat, go ahead and click that link. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. It's very good if you're trying to grow in a career. And maybe, we do have some CEOs watching the live stream. So if you're a fellow CEO, I think you would resonate with a lot of what Bill McDermott says. All right, we're going to make a right here, and this is going to take us all the way down by the $50 million Moynihan Highline extension, which is right here, this little thing right here. Can you guys believe this thing was 50 million bucks? What do you think? Worth it or not worth it? 50 million bucks for this guy right here. I think it looks good. I don't know about 50 million good. Maybe like a 10 million good. I'd say it's a 10 million good, it's a 50 million okay. That's what I say. Everybody's like, not worth it. Worth it for 10, it's pushing it at 50. That's what I say. Isaac says 15 million or 50 million? 50 million, 5-0. $50 million. Hey Jessica, this is Tom, important question. My family owns a house in North Brooklyn. Rent or sell it, needs some work, and I am torn. It really depends on the situation. If you send me an email, thomas.malloy@element.com. If you write me an email describing the situation a little bit more, I could probably help you out. But in general, I don't really know anything about the situation. I don't know if there's debt on the property or not. I mean, you really, particularly if you own an actual house in Brooklyn, I would want to keep that in the family for generations and maybe live on one side of it, rent out the other, and accumulate properties. But again, it all depends on the situation. I just would need to know a little bit more, but I could absolutely help you out. If you send me an email, I'll kind of assess the situation and provide my best guidance as I can. Isaac says, you know what's mind-blowing? Why is the extension bridge so expensive? Well, here's the thing. It's wood. It's compressed wood. Now, from afar, it kind of looks like solid metal or steel, but this is all wood right here. So I don't know. But guys, tomorrow is Wednesday, and I know what you're thinking. Disney. Tomorrow after the bell, we're going to hear from our good friend Bob Iger. So I'm really excited about that, because I think this is going to be a good proxy into the health of the U.S. consumer to see if people are still spending crazy amounts of money at Disney parks. We'll also get a little bit of an update as to how ESPN is doing, so I'm very excited about that. But guys, I got to go get something to eat. I got to eat dinner. I got to be up very early tomorrow. So I want to thank everybody for joining the live stream tonight. Thank you all for subscribing. And once again, if you scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, on Thursday after the market closes, you will be signed up to receive our Behind the Street newsletter. But until then, guys, I'll see you tomorrow at 8:30, right back here in New York City. We are going to be talking about Disney's earnings, and hopefully we will be reporting live from Tribeca. So I'll see you guys later. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video, click the subscribe button if you're new, and we will see you all tomorrow. Richard Vogel, Victor, Razzle Dazzle 786, appreciate you. Hang with Mark Mom, everything in Miami, good to see you. Mark Francis, Jonathan, Daryl, Danny, Teresa Diaz, RJ, Colton Manning. There's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look, and I'll see everybody right back here tomorrow. Ken Brockton, take it easy. Bree Grams, Lupe. All right, everybody, take care.